You are listening to the Unleashed and Aligned podcast, where we strip away the noise, unleash our truth, and align with our highest self. I'm your host, Felicia Dom, certified life coach, Reiki practitioner, and chakra guide, here to help women find deep love and interconnection within themselves. This podcast is here to increase awareness, inspire your journey, and educate you as you reclaim your energy and rise fully into who you are. Check the show notes for links to my healing circle, coaching, and more ways to work with me. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back to the Unleash and Align podcast. I'm here with Alessia Tenebruso. She is the founder of One Girl Travel LLC, a lifestyle and personal growth brand empowering women to live boldly, travel deeply, and show up fully. As a certified life coach, solo travel expert, content creator, brand visibility coach, and travel advisor, Alessia helps women build confidence, take action on their dreams, and create a life that feels aligned and exciting. What began as a solo travel-focused coaching business has evolved into a multi-passionate platform that blends personal development, creative expression, and adventure. Through private coaching, group trips, digital resources, and visibility strategy, Alessia guides women to embrace freedom, express themselves authentically, and make the world their playground. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. And sorry, I know that was a mouthful.
No, I love it. I love how multifaceted you are. Can I share, before we dive in really quick, the first day that I seen you, or like the first impression I had of you? Because I don't think we officially actually met.
Okay.
So we were at a women's event, and I was there with one of my best friends, and we both seen you walk in, and you're really magnetic. You're like the blonde bombshell, right? And so you're like, oh my gosh, look at that beautiful dress she's wearing. We got to meet this girl. Oh my gosh, she seems so happy. And then there was intermission, and you came back in a different dress, and I was like, what? This is amazing. I freaking love this girl's energy. I love that you were just like, it was like your fashion show. I think I heard you say something about how, like, just something about how clothes make you feel, or how you feel in clothes. Can you like talk a little bit about that or touch on that? Because your outfits are amazing. I love how you wear beautiful dresses everywhere you go. And it has inspired me to just be like, almost drop the, oh, is this appropriate? Is this inappropriate? And just be whoever you want to be and wear what you want to wear, wherever you want to wear it. It doesn't have to be a special occasion to feel your best.
Exactly. And I love that you said that, because for me, like when I first started my whole journey, which I'm sure we'll get into, but clothes were really like my superhero costume, almost like for my future self. And even though I was uncomfortable in those moments, I would wear the dress and I would be like, I'm going to act as my future self. Like, how does my future self show up? How does she dress? And like, that just helped me like embody my future self and that confidence. And over time, like I became my future self. So now I'm just like, I dress for me, for the body I have now. Like, all that dress for your body type and stuff, that's all bullshit. Like, I just dress for what makes me feel good and how I want to express myself to the world and just show up and have fun with my clothes.
I love that. And I love your photos. Everybody has to follow Alessia because her photos, everywhere you go, it's so gorgeous. And it literally inspires me to add, because I used to be like a very fighting my body, always wearing black type person. And so it inspires me to wear more colorful stuff and get more bolder with how I dress. And I love that you embody that energy because, like I said, I didn't know you at the time. You just walked in and I felt that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be more like that. I want pieces of that. And so I think that's such an amazing characteristic that you have and energy that you can just walk into a room and have people be like, oh my gosh, like taking pieces of that confidence.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That means so much to me. And I do remember I think you came up to me when that photo booth was spinning around.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I like said hi, that we got to briefly meet. But
Yes. Yes.
yeah, but we got to connect now.
Yes, I'm so happy that we've been in a group together and gotten to know each other a little bit more. So, my first question is, when did you realize you were playing small or holding yourself back? And I know a lot of us have like several moments, but what was a big pivotal moment?
Yeah, I can see it all to this day. In 2011, I got out of a mentally abusive relationship, and that was like my first adult relationship. And when that ended, I just lost my identity. I didn't know who I was anymore. Like, I felt just like a shell of who I was. And I'm like, I depended on him for so much that now that I'm on my own, what do I like? Who am I? And in 2012, I decided to take my first solo trip. And the reason why I chose solo travel was because I have always been shy and timid and scared and hiding myself, like not the person you got to see in the room. Like I was not her. And I'm like, what's the thing that's going to scare me the most? And
Mm.
it was solo travel. And I decided to take my first trip. It was to Florida. Wasn't something that really stretched me too far, but it stretched me enough that I was scared to death to do it. And from the moment I got on the plane for that trip, I sat down next to this boy who was around my age, and I never spoke to anybody on a plane before in my life. And the whole trip we chatted, and he was a solo traveler, and he
Oh,
shared his trips and his photos with me. And every step of that trip, I just felt aligned by the universe that I was on the right path. And that trip really helped me from going from not knowing who I was and playing small to who I am now, where I am definitely not playing small anymore. And I have just found myself through that journey.
oh my gosh, I love that the universe, this is what I believe anyways, that the universe really places like situations and people and things like that in front of us to help guide us and help inspire us and sometimes help us learn really important lessons. And those can be challenging as well. But I love that you sat next to somebody that is a solo traveler where maybe at that point, I don't know if that was even something in your mind that you're like, oh, I'm going to do this all the time. But maybe he like sparked that in you and I think that's so cool, and I love that you were able to chat with him on that plane because I, like you, I'm not talking to anybody, I'm just gonna get on this plane and get off, and I remember the first time I traveled, and I sat next to this sweet old man, and he told me about, like, his travels and why he was traveling back from it was actually I think I was going to Florida and coming from Seattle, and he had his high school sweetheart that lived there that he traveled back for, and they both had ended up getting married and both were widowed, and they found each other online, and now he travels there to see her, and I was like, "I don't know, it's so cute," and I'm like, "I always wanna talk to people now on the plane because 'cause I'm like, what kind of like, stories do they have? It's so intriguing to meet new people on the plane and have somebody to conversate with for sometimes really long journeys.
Absolutely.
What did you have to let go of in order to become more of who you are today?
Yeah. I would say the self doubt I had to let go of for a long time, especially before this solo travel journey. I would doubt myself and I would hold myself back from doing the things I wanted to do because of my own body image, because of I was holding on to evidence of what people may have said about me that didn't serve me. And I was the one, like nobody else was holding me back. I was holding myself back. And the thing like, this all goes back to solo travel, like, you'll see the theme here, but with the solo traveling, like, I learned how capable I was, like, it gave me new evidence that I was strong, that I was capable, that I was confident, like, it gave me so much, and that's what really allowed me to just stop doubting myself and prove to myself that I can do it.
There's a couple things that you had mentioned earlier and now that I absolutely love. And one of them is when you first started, you did the thing that scared you the most. And I think that's incredibly courageous because a lot of us won't do that. That takes so much. And for you to even think, okay, what's going to scare me the most? Let's do it. I'm so curious of how, like, what was going on in your mind? Like, how did you come to that?
Yeah. So it's interesting, like, there's 3 times in my life that I can really pinpoint with that. It was my junior year of high school, on a whim, I decided to join the boys wrestling team. I was the only girl ever on the team, and I'm like, "I wanna do it." And I'm like, I didn't overthink that, like, I was just like, "I'm gonna do it. Let me just do it." And then once I decided, I was like, "Oh my god, what did I just do?" But, like, I held myself accountable and I did it, and that taught me so much at a young age. I'm so thankful for, like, teenage Alessia for doing that. And then it was the solo travel where I just knew that I wasn't going to find myself by not pushing myself, by
Mhm.
not discovering who I am. Like, when you're in especially like a mentally abusive relationship and somebody's just tearing you down all the time, you believe them. And then it's okay, like they're gone now. Now it's time to rewrite my story and who I am. And so I just knew that I had to do it. And then most recently in January 2024, I had resigned from my 14-year corporate career. And this is a decision I wanted to make for years. And I was so scared. This was probably the scariest one for me because you're getting rid of a lot of safety nets in your life and you're really believing in yourself that much to let it all go. And I just decided, I actually declared it at a women's event in November 2023 that I was going to resign on January 2nd, 2024. And I did it. January 2nd came and I gave my resignation. And there were a lot of tears. I was scared to death. I'm still scared. Like, it's been over a year now. It's still really scary, but it's just something like I had to have this faith in myself because I want more from my life. And if I want to reach my goals, I have to take a chance. And I also like to think of like worst case scenario. With that, the worst case scenario is get another job, which is
Mhm.
exactly where I'm starting from. So it's really not that bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's so much inspiration in what you just said. I think that it's going to really resonate with our listeners and just be what's my scary thing? Because I think so many of us get caught up in either a relationship or raising kids or doing something where our life or who we are, our identity starts to fade and we're like, "Wait, what do we like? Who are we?" Because we're especially in my opinion as women, we're so attentive to other people's needs and what other people want that we forget that piece. So I
I-
think that yeah, I love that. One of the other things that you had said, or I guess two of the things was having that self-doubt and other people's opinions and what you had mentioned, body image and things like that kind of held you back. And I love that through solo traveling and through stepping into what you were like, this is the scariest thing in this moment that you found that capability and that confidence within yourself. I think that's such a big lesson because we can get really in our heads about what we're going to look like and do we look foolish? And so we don't step into that version. But when we finally have the reps in, I should say, because it does take multiple times, then it starts to fade. You start to be like, this is just me. This is who I am. And it, take it or leave it kind of thing. Yeah, and so is there like a time or a story that you can share of when maybe you started to shift more from that self-doubt to more into that self-confidence or feeling really capable?
Yeah. With solo travel, my biggest like fear around all that was dining by myself. Going out to dinner by myself scared me to death. Like that, I was so worried. What are people going to think of me? Like, they're going to think I don't have any friends. Like, I'm such a sitting here, like, I'm just making up all these stories. And then I go. And like I said, I used my clothes as my like superhero uniform. That's the thing that gave me that extra boost of confidence. And I remember being on a cruise ship and I was wearing like a literal like gown. I think it was one of my friend's bridesmaids dresses like for their wedding that I wore. And like I had this woman and a little girl ask me like, "Oh, are you having dinner with the captain?" "No, I'm having dinner with myself." And I felt like I was like walking on a cloud. I was just like floating through the ship. Like I sat down at the restaurant and nobody cares. The people care about themselves. Like they really do not care about you. And if anything, like so many conversations started when I'm sitting at a table by myself where people are curious or people want to do that. You're going to inspire them to go and take themselves out to dinner because they see how joyful you are in that moment. And I like to think of it as that. Like every time that I step out doing something that's uncomfortable for me, I'm setting an example for other people so that they can see me and know that they can do it also. And now dining by myself is one of my favorite things in the world. Like I want to eat alone when I'm on vacation, like just because it gives you that time to yourself to be with your own thoughts and work on your mindset because those negative thoughts will still trickle in and it's up to you to turn them around and let them serve you and just enjoy your own company and be your own best friend. And that's really like the thing that helped me just drop that self-doubt and just know, okay, I'm doing this and now I love it because I did the reps. Like you said, it's not going to happen after one dinner by yourself. The first time's going to be very scary, but the more you do it, the more you put the time in, you just evolve into that version of you that you want to be.
I love how dressed up you got for that event with yourself. That's amazing. I feel like that in itself almost brings a little inspiration, like, oh, I'm taking myself out to dinner.
Always. There's always gowns and dresses packed in my bags no matter where I go. I love expressing myself through clothes, but it just makes me feel good too.
Yeah. And I agree. I don't dine by myself too much, but I remember I travel alone for like work and stuff. And every time I've traveled alone, I actually get a little excited because I've been in a relationship for 19 years. So sometimes I get excited to be by myself. And so I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna eat alone and I'm gonna write my notes down from this conference and whatever." And every single time somebody comes up that's probably by themselves and maybe nervous, I don't know. And they always are like, "Oh, are you here by yourself? Do you mind if I sit with you?" And mine have been like business things. So I think that people are already like looking to see who's there by themselves. But it cracks me up every time because I'm like, "Oh, I wanted to be alone." If I'm not by myself on a business trip and I just am like on a lunch break or something like that, I do find it like very soothing and comforting to read my book or listen to a podcast or just enjoy like sights while I'm by myself.
And like you said, like with the person coming up to you, I think I trust in the universe that they're putting the right people in your path. So maybe they needed you at that moment, or maybe you learned something from them. And that's one of my favorite things about solo travel is all the people I meet because it like when you're by yourself, you are just unguarded. Like you have the world available to you. And there's so many people out there. And I have so many friends from all over the world because of my solo journeys. Like it makes you appreciate people so much, and that's one of my favorite parts about solo traveling.
And you had mentioned that people are so consumed with themselves, and you think they're going to look at you and be like, oh, look at that person by themselves, how awkward or something. And you're right. People are so, just like we're in our heads when we're like eating alone, they're also in their heads. And again, like you said, you're open when you're by yourself up to the people coming in and being in your space and just like whatever happens and you're going with the flow a lot of the times. And I think that energy does attract people. And when people see somebody, if even if it's if you're in a group, if you see somebody maybe sitting by themselves somewhere, I feel like I'm more apt to walk over and say hi, or can I get directions, or ask them something more than somebody in a group that's already having a conversation with another person. So I think you're more open to probably a lot more experiences with people than if you were with traveling with somebody else.
Absolutely. When you're with other people, you're with them. So it's almost like rude to be like, okay, guys, I'm leaving you to go meet other people. But when you're by yourself, there's just so many people to meet. And it's so fun.
Yeah.
Love people. Like it's so fun to meet new people.
So if what advice would you give to somebody that maybe wants to branch out and do something, but they're too scared? They're somebody that's has a lot of self-doubt, and what would maybe be like a first step that you would say?
Yeah. So I like to break things out into small steps. Like I don't suggest that you go from like having an idea for a book to quitting your job because you're going to write a book, right? Write it like sentence by sentence. Or for solo travel, I suggest going out to a cafe. Like if you're not comfortable being by yourself, go to a cafe and get a cup of coffee, then go to lunch, then go to an early dinner, then go to a fancy dinner, then the overnight trip. Work your way up. Don't jump to the finish end. Just really step by step and listen to yourself when it's happening. What thoughts are you telling yourself? And if they're not serving you, then it's time to do that inner work and really figure out, why are you feeling this way? Why don't you believe in yourself? Or why do you feel like something isn't working? And then work through it, because it's really like an evolution, not only of your goals, but yourself too. You have to do the self work along with the physical work with what you want to achieve.
I'm such a believer and advocate for baby steps. I think we can get to, and I used to be somebody that wanted to go to the finish line all the time. And I think that the older I got, the more knowledge that I gained, the more I realized that the baby steps are what gets you there faster, because trying to go straight to the finish line, you get pulled back in more, almost like push back even further steps from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, like, you don't know what to expect if you're just jumping into it. You didn't do all that work in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's going to get you there. If you just jump to the end and then you have no idea what you're doing, you're going to be like, it's not working, forget it. And then you're going to give up. But instead of just progressing slowly and know how capable you are, give yourself the evidence that you can do it and then get there.
Yes, yes. So when you're feeling maybe self-doubt, if you even have those thoughts, I think we all still have a little bit of doubtful thoughts no matter how much we work. What do you do to maybe realign yourself?
I like to find, I keep saying the word evidence a lot, but that's just how I operate. Like, I need to prove to myself, okay, you've done it before, you can do it again. And also, because self-doubt, it still creeps in. It doesn't matter how good you are at what you do, like, it still creeps in, and it's just working through it and not being mean to yourself, not like forcing yourself, but give yourself grace to really just think on it and figure out like what's happening, because most likely it's not the thing that you assume it is. It's usually
Mm,
something a little deeper that you have to work through, and you just have to continue. There's no failing, right? The only time you're failing is when you give up. It's just experimenting. You're just going to try. And if it doesn't work, you pivot and you go down another path. And then you just continue to make those adjustments. And I think giving yourself grace is really that thing that's going to keep you forward, even through the self doubt, and just keep you moving rather than beating yourself up, because that doesn't do anything except keep you small and staying stuck and staying confused and overwhelmed. Stop beating yourself up.
yes, I love that advice. So I think that so many, especially women, are going to feel really connected with what you're saying and hopefully inspired about getting out there and figuring out what lights them up and getting that courage to step into whatever version of themselves they want to be in. But I really want to talk a little bit, if we can, about your solo traveling and how does your business work? Do you have group solo traveling? Let's dive in a little bit about what you do for anybody that maybe is hesitant about traveling. How can they work with you in order to get more of that confidence?
Of course. So I am a certified life coach also. The thing for me, like, that really helped me find myself was solo travel and then working with my mentor, who is a certified life coach. And that's why I, in 2019, actually had an epiphany while on a retreat in Paris for One Girl Travel. I was walking around Paris by myself and I'm like, I know what I'm meant to do. And I remember whispering it to my mentor at the plaza at dinner. And I whispered to her, I'm like, I know what I'm going to do. And she announced to the whole table, ladies, Alessia has an announcement. Oh, shit. Okay, this is real. And I declared it. And then every day from there, I just worked on building it. And so One Girl Travel is a combination of life coaching, it's solo travel, and now I have expanded the business into social media marketing, event correspondence, travel advisor, just because all everything I learned from the solo travel and through coaching allowed me to develop more talents. And like the red string through all of it is helping women have the confidence to do the things that they want to do. So whether it's their business or solo travel. I do have I have something in the works right now for all the people that want to get started solo traveling. I have phased out my membership, but there's something that I'll be announcing very soon in my newsletter. So you can definitely sign up for my newsletter at alessialisa.com and you'll be the first to know about it. But yeah, one-on-one coaching we can do. We can go on my social media, my podcast. I give tips all the time. And then with this new container I am creating for everybody, there's going to be a lot in there that is going to help you have the confidence to go out and solo travel. I hosted my first group trip to Italy last year. I had women go to Italy with me.
25?
It was the most incredible thing I've ever done in my life. Oh my gosh, just I love being around women, and especially, like, when only their only focus is themselves and doing the things that bring them joy, and, like, laughter was the soundtrack of that trip. Everybody's just laughing and having fun, and we did such cool things, and so I'm working on more group trips in the future, so when you join the mailing list, you'll be the first to know about that also. But there's so many facets now to what I do that it's exciting. I feel like I like to say I'm like the Martha Stewart of the internet. So many things happening, and there's so many things I want to teach people and help them with. So, like, even like the social media, like I learned social media through my own solo travel. And now I teach people how to create their social media and how to market their brands. And it still has that solo travel, like, heartbeat to it, and it just is growing and building, and I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, I love all the things and I love the group trips. That sounds amazing, especially for people that are maybe in relationships or have a family and they just want to get away with a great group of women and have a great time. I think that's such an amazing idea. And I love that you went to Italy. That sounds phenomenal.
That's amazing. And also, I'm in a relationship right now, and I still solo travel,
I so
and
love that.
that was the one thing, like, when I got into the relationship, I said up front, "Hey, this is what I do." Like, I am a solo traveler. I legit crave that time alone because I'm also a full-time caretaker for my 99-year-old grandma. So, like, having that time by myself, and, like, I know mothers, caretakers, even employees, like, you're so consumed with everyone else's needs. And I think it's so important to take that time for yourself, whether it's just an overnight stay in a local hotel where you don't have to share the remote with somebody and you can order room service and take a bath. Like, it's as simple as that, or even a meal or a movie by yourself. There's so many ways that you can get that alone time in just to fill your own cup and show up as a better version of yourself when you return home.
Yes, you mentioned that also just like being in a relationship, saying out front, like, hey, this is something that I like to do, and this is not something that I'm going to stop doing. Because I do think that's really important to have, like you said, that time and space by yourself, whatever that looks like a weekend, a day, maybe a whole week or 2 weeks. So whatever that feels good to you and looks like for you. I remember when I was younger, I had this older friend that she always went on these girls trips. Every year there was like 2 girls trips, and I just thought like, how awesome is that? Because 'Cause I've never known anybody in my life, and I'm sure that a lot of people have friends that do that. But at that time in my 20s, I didn't know anybody that did that, that took the time out to just go with their friends and go on a trip, and I thought that was so amazing, and I do that now. But I think that was such a great, powerful thing for me to see younger because in my family and my friends at the time, nobody did that. It was like odd to do that without your partner. And I think we're living in a different time now too. But for sure, I think that's so important for people to have time either with themselves or with their friends, if they're in a relationship, to just be okay at not having that person around all the time.
It's a perfect opportunity to reconnect with you and who you truly are and what you desire, and maybe that you've lost touch with. I always like to think about, like, my childhood self, like, what did she enjoy, and start implementing that into my life, and, like, solo travel or spending time by yourself. Like, maybe you wanna take glass blowing and none of your friends want to. Go do it. Like, it's a perfect opportunity to just, like, reunite with who you are, like, deep down, and just try new things.
Just trying new things in general too, it's like I think so many people are like, "I don't know if I like that because I've never done it." But it's go do it and see, like, it's so beautiful to to experience. I think it can get addicting too when you haven't done it. And then you start, you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I want to do this and I want to do this and I want to do this.
Like, it unlocks, like, endless possibilities. And that's the thing, like, what I love about solo travel so much is, like, you learn to become your own best friend. So I never need to wait on anybody to do anything with
Mm.
me. Like, I was just in Paris. I went to Disneyland Paris by myself. I had the best day ever. It was so much fun, and I was completely alone, and it was so fun. There's so many things that you can do by yourself if you're enjoying your own company, and that's the thing, like, that's why you have to do the work and take those small steps, because that's where you learn how to have that self-love and build that friendship with yourself, because it you don't n like, when you're not used to listening to yourself or being alone with yourself, it can be very uncomfortable to sit with your
Yeah.
own thoughts. So that's why I build it up, just take these little steps and just keep doing those reps and get familiar with who you are and learn to love and appreciate who that is. Because then the world is literally your playground and you can do anything you want.
Okay, so my last question for you is, what does being unleashed and aligned mean to you?
I feel like I am unleashed and aligned right now in my life because of all the work I put in. If you knew me in 2012 when I started this journey, I was not unleashed. I was held back and I was so like tightly like crumbled up in a corner somewhere and not aligned with anything because I didn't know what I wanted. And now I know what I want and I'm doing the work. I'm going after it and I'm taking those risks. And every decision I make is in alignment with who I want to become in the future, my future self, and the life that I want to create and the legacy I want to leave on the world. And it feels light. It feels so open. It feels exciting. And I hope everybody in their lifetime experiences this feeling because you truly feel like you can do anything. Like when you believe in yourself and you just, yeah, it feels magical.
Oh my gosh. I love that advice. I think that's amazing because I have been really deep diving on that radical self acceptance. I remember my mentor saying she just decided one day that she was going to love herself. And then that was it. No more mind drama, no more self doubt. And I remember thinking, like, that is so far from where my brain could even reach. I don't understand how that could happen. And I understand it now, and it's been such an incredible journey to, like you had mentioned, be that your best friend and be that person that really takes care of you and doesn't need anybody else around to be happy, to have fun, to do new things, to try new experiences. And when you can get to that point where you can really be with you and be happy, I think that is where so many things unlock and open for you. And you're like unstoppable. Like you said, there's nothing you can do. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. It has been so much fun. You are such an amazing, like bright, joyous person to be around. And everybody needs to immediately follow you if they're not following you. Just sign up on the newsletter and be a solo traveler and experience like how it lights you up and bring so much joy into your life. And so I appreciate you so much for being on here, Alicia.
Thank you so much for having me. I love this conversation. I love your energy, and I can't wait to see you again and chat with you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review so that we can connect with more people to develop our mind, body, and spirit.